Welcome back YouTubers to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. As you're aware, I'm Aspie, and if you're new to my channel, I welcome you with open arms right now, and I'm taking you all on a journey with my condition of Aspergers Syndrome, OCD and the like, as well as just, taking you all on a journey of just creating mental health and an awareness on some of the series that I would like to address. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness versus just sharing some messages of hope with tips and advice along the way, regardless based on my training, life experiences and the like. I'm here to obviously dispel the myths about autism versus all these other autistic-like conditions that many people tend to, think they know about, regardless what it may be. So in order to do, guys, like I said, while I've been away, it has come to my attention that hopefully some of these videos while I'm away will be of value and use to you. One of these ones that I'm going to bring out, hopefully, which I humbly apologise in advance, even if it feels like I'm ranting, raving and that, I don't mean to, but I just want to bring it out there of what I've been thinking right now, regardless of the everyday topics that are close to my heart. Like I said, I want to be real to you as well as transparent and obviously be as honest as I can come right now, even though, like, I notice that many people may judge me for how I speak, look, or what have you, but that's just the way life is. So, and all further ado, before I run out of time, this one is kind of a rant, but kind of not. I don't know if, but you guys can decide on this when you're, watching this video while I'm away, Also, just to bear in mind, this topic I'm going to bring out is close to my heart because obviously it's all about mental health and awareness. Obviously, and this one's based on the Aspergers Syndrome and Autism Help Central tips and advice playlistings that I want to bring out to you all right now, which this one's called Aspergers Syndrome is Real. It's from the uptake, kind of pretty much what I've been watching on some videos about people talking about their mental health disorders, be it their depression versus their OCD versus every other mental health disorders out there, just to, for them to run and rave and make, hopefully feel safe and secure from all these, people that may judge or just misunderstand us or what have you based on our everyday lives of whatever goes on in our lives. I know it's for everybody has their own personal struggles. Like I said, I'm sick and tired for me, before I continue on of this topic, for my one of Aspergers Syndrome is real, basically, that I'm just sick of the stereotyping and all this judgmentality of certain people thinking, that we just ask for what we deserve in our life, as we know, basically. And at this point of time, from what I did, also though, from what I've watched, also what I'm hoping to do right now is basically going to bring out on from the hard stuff that Nigel later series brought out, also later on, of what I thought about when I've watched a couple of the series or episodes based on the everyday topics that needs to be addressed, which will be later on, hopefully, as well as some other missing pieces that I have promised you guys so many times before. But as I said before, also, just bear in mind that regardless what I've shared, it has been a real busy, overwhelming week, or last 2 weeks, if you've been following me through Twitter and Facebook, of what's been going down with me. So I just think for some of you anyway, that has been supportive of me, regardless of maybe private messaging me or just commenting on my channel, or just trying to stick with me through and through. Without you guys, as we know, I wouldn't be here, regardless of, this is my outlet kind of thing, be it my blogging as well, of what I want to do. So let's begin this before I run out of time, which I'm starting to press for time now. So as we know, basically the title is Aspergers Syndrome is Real. It's amazing how some certain TV shows that has bring about Aspergers Syndrome, what it's all about, basically, how it portrays what it's all about as we, grow up and love to some of the, TV programs we love so dearly that are more common, of how they portray what autism and Aspergers Syndrome is really about. What I'm talking about, obviously, are the most adored ones, be it, just like a few years back, Girls Meet World, whatever that series was, about this girl that was trying to portray what autism is like, of the characteristic traits versus obviously the most loved and common one of the Big Bang Theory that I watch with Sheldon Cooper. Also, there's also been some other characters based on different TV shows that has now come out a bit more in the limelight, also of the spotlight, be it, the one on Sesame Street, that little red puppet named Jane, obviously, I think from memory, and the character on Arthur I can't remember if he's a bear or a goose or something, but I'm trying to remember all the little kids programs that I used to watch when I was a young girl. Goes to show, how odd I am, even though, I used to love watching those, even though, as we know, sometimes some of the TV programs now today just over-exaggerate of the sort of messages that needs to be involved in this day and age of whatever it needs to portray out of the messages behind it. But yes, I know how many times do I hear from people saying to me that they're sick and tired of hearing about autism. Autism isn't real, it's fake, it's just a phase, and all the continuations of common statements that we hear in our autistic community and outside the autistic community when we're hanging around people. Yes, I am aware that you may be getting sick and tired of me bringing it up about autism, Aspergers Syndrome, and that, but let's be real here. Autism versus Aspergers Syndrome is real, like any other mental health disorder that we come and face in our everyday personal struggles, regardless what it may be. Okay. Yes, you got to remember that regardless of what all, as I shared so many times before from the very beginning, Aspergers Syndrome is a mild form of autism. It does, however, exist along with other mental health disorders and more. That doesn't, I feel, even yet talked about much, because obviously, like many other mental health disorders that maybe from others that do go through it with their everyday personal struggles, be it they feel that they might get stigmatized, judged, stereotyped by others, or just getting into that frame of network that they feel really unsafe and unloved by others around them. And sometimes we feel we need to maybe change the mentality of others around us, but then again, we can't always change people's minds. Obviously, it's up to the person in this day and age how we can actually go about it. I have also basically realised, even if it does exist along with these other mental health disorders, we've been raised up a variety of questions of why it may not have been, even though we should be grateful now for the social media sites, be it Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media platforms, that now some of it has come to light of sharing what, all these different disorders are all about, regardless what it may be. But then what I had, thought of, regardless of it all, regardless of not being talked about more or even just raised due to a lot of reasons, and some of these reasons you may think to yourself that, it's not true, it's all false, and whatnot. That's fine, you guys are entitled to think that. You guys are entitled to disagree to agree with me or agree to disagree with me. I know that, with our waves of different understanding versus our differences of opinion can get in the way of things. Like I'm sharing with you all what's close to my heart, which is one of this right now. Okay, for a lot of reasons. Number one, maybe it's due to the lack of knowledge and education in the particular area of autism, because as I said before, it's just recently come out now, a bit further into it now, of what Aspergers Syndrome and autism is all really about, really. Number two is the lack of awareness. Number three, maybe it's the stereotyping of others with that form of disorder. Number four, for the ones that do have it, sometimes it's maybe the fear of knowing, of the stereotyping from the others, or just the fear of the unknown, pretty much, of what's going to happen around us when we do try to reveal to others, in a gentle form of context, how to address it to others that we have it, because as I said, there is a right way and a wrong way how to address certain things, and obviously, we need to just be real about it, because obviously, as I said, this is real, this is the real world. Excuse me. Although there has been a lot of judgmentality from others, regardless what it may be as well, but you got to bear in mind, I can't say it enough, it does exist today, like it has for many other mental health disorders. Okay, obviously it's in the DSM manual of the mental health disorders from memory. Forgive me if I'm wrong from what I've researched and know about. If I've got the wrong edition of the book, someone can hopefully hit me up and just Karen got it wrong. I know it's in one of the DSM manuals, even though now they're trying to abolish what they think of Aspergers Syndrome. Because obviously, as we know, however, I'm the one of many who has it, as well as many others that I've talked to on the autistic community versus just maybe on the YouTube community that has been privately messaging me how they cope with it in their everyday struggles, or even when I used to be on a Skype group that has now stopped, that I'm actually trying to engage with as many people and reach out to in the autistic community. Regardless, like I said, my dream and hope is just to be a mentor, advocate, support person or spokesperson for autism, basically regardless of the everyday factors of the change that's going on. Apparently, however, even though there has been some convoluted diagnoses of what I've shared with you so many times before, with based on my condition, regardless what it may be, that it does come into the territory, however, of Aspergers Syndrome, despite what I've shared in my book as well as on my channel, that, you know, some of the diagnoses has been, you know, misread or misleading, because obviously there still needs to be research done regardless what it may be, but it's not the researcher's fault, because obviously it's still kind of new, you know, to gain that proper understanding. Despite now it doesn't longer appear in Aspergers Syndrome, though, however, it's now called as a term called majority of the time autism spectrum disorder, or ASD for short. I sometimes disagree with this term for a lot of valid reasons of my own, however. And this is just one of the rules, like your TOCs or your terms of conditions, and you have to abide by a certain rule regardless what it may be thing, even though, you know, everything has a label, but we shouldn't have to have a label regardless. But then again, you know, many people misread us or misinterpret us. You know, people may think when we are shy, you know, quiet, socially awkward, we tend to have autism. That's not always the case. It can be other, you know, formal conditions. Even though these two symptoms alone can basically be misread and misjudged or misunderstood. Believe me though, however, when going for series of tests, diagnoses, especially with Aspergers Syndrome, it's extremely difficult and challenging for the specialist to recognise and know the signs and symptoms. For many people, basically, with AS, you are aware or not, is, you know, pretty much, you know, autism is predominantly a male disorder, even though now in the last few years it's coming into it that it is actually taking effect of females as well as males. Let me explain to you more to gain a bit more understanding to what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so as I said, this has predominantly always been a male kind of, like, you know, diagnostic ruling, that basically, you know, Aspergers Syndrome is just a male condition or disorder. But as I mentioned in the very beginning of my series, if you've been following me, that many diagnoses for women when they are diagnosed, however, are usually the normal symptoms of diagnoses, such as your depression, schizophrenia, anxiety issues, and so on and so forth. Another example to clarify, hopefully to clearly explain to you all, if I can get it right for you, hopefully I'm not going to get too technical, humbly apologise, but you let me know, is when an extremely bright female goes through life, yet we do have our own issues. You know, when we are misdiagnosed or undiagnosed or what have you, or underdiagnosed with all these other mental health disorders that I just briefly mentioned, be it schizophrenia, depression, anxiety issues, and the like, you know, as I've just shared a few seconds ago, you know, they will then approach to adulthood. Like, you know, autism usually is only, like, founded or researched through kids as young as, I don't know, here's a example, tender age of 3 to 5 years, basically. And basically, you know, some of us females, when we are at that stage that we're in adulthood, we just fall beneath the cracks and being misdiagnosed. That we're like the missing puzzle, the jigsaw puzzle, even if the puzzle piece is missing, basically, you know, or hasn't been fitted for a while, it should hopefully now fit as a whole once we realise that, you know, all these years we've been, you know, hoping for an answer to what has, for our behaviours and our attitudes towards life, what life is all about. You know, it's again very difficult to get the diagnosis, as I've said, you know, many times before. on all different support groups and forums I have been on, I have heard from or have seen every single day basically certain questions arising and certain, complaints, well, not complaints as such, but just certain thought patterns from others basically of the struggles for a parent, to get a child or diagnosis, especially for an adult, for themselves, knowing what they know and see maybe in their child or even themselves, yet the medical experts don't or can't clearly see it for themselves. We'll see it what the teachers may see every day as they teach the children from 9 to 3 or 9 to 2, whatever time frame they teach the child. The specialists especially think with an idea or theory inside their minds that it's a masculine or male disorder, as I said just briefly, or they may think in the lowest of the functioning sounds and they don't look. When you have basically someone that looks and sees the problem with you, that is really awesome. It's just like I said, a weight off our shoulders, especially what I've shared in my book versus my story so far about, Aspergers Syndrome, denial, or what have you, if you've been following. I don't know if I should link it up into this part of it just to get you guys an understanding for you newbies if you're on my channel today as you are following me. But please comment below if you do want that, or else I'm going to just try to see if I can find a way just to put it on a little, cards on one of the display windows that they share about. But anyway, sometimes it's a relief off the parent's shoulders, however, but not everyone of us has this opportunity. As I said before, so many times before, I went undiagnosed for a long period of time. I've been misdiagnosed so many times in my life, basically based on certain specialists. I was first diagnosed as basically like many others as well, maybe for the children. I was misdiagnosed as a learning disorder of like ADD for starters, and then it came through as a DD, dyslexic kind of learning disability versus some other disorders that they couldn't put their finger on, obviously, at the time when I was younger. So obviously I put two and two together in the last few years pretty much for myself, even though the first and foremost was the person back in the days of Polytech was the one that actually, of a lecturer, picked up when I was 16 going on 17, that she felt in her heart that, I had Aspergers Syndrome, and I've been, like I always do in my books, researching, doing my own thing, and actually I obviously self-diagnosed, and many people think that's a wrong way about it, but everyone is different. As I said though, however, I've just shared briefly in here about my little story of being, misdiagnosed at that tender age. Okay, from time to time though, however, through that, misdiagnosis of mine, I went through a series of tests through specialists, be it educational specialists versus just specialists that specialises in learning disorders, as well through spelled and everything. At that time, due to the lack of funds that my parents had, they were doing their very hardest to fight the Health and Disability Board for not just myself but for my younger sister. And to this day we still are fighting the Health and Disability Board in some parts, but then again, it has been tiring for my parents, for them wanting the answers that they still have no answers to of what's going down between my sister and I. But for me though, however, it's not the lack of times my parents has tried to take me to the specialist, however, just to be on mine, doctors and what have you. But luckily, with one of the doctors, or actually shall we say two of the doctors I've been with so far here in New Zealand, obviously understands a bit more of the condition and actually, knows the limitations as well as some other bits and pieces that goes with it. That's why it's been hard for me, obviously, despite that I've been trying to put it behind me of Aspergers Syndrome and keep pushing forward to hopefully, as I said, with my everyday struggles of seeking out jobs and stuff because of fear of, being too honest, obviously, of what I've been doing on my interviews. But hopefully, regardless of it all, that something will, change in that area. I am not letting, as I said, Aspergers Syndrome rule me, however. I'm just trying to share my life stories regardless what it is. If you guys think I'm just playing the pity party of who I am and what I am as a person, I humbly apologise in advance. But I'm not doing this at all. I'm just trying to bring out as much as I can, like many other people I've been supporting on the autistic community of certain pages on the page of what's going down with me. So, you know, it's nothing about that. As you gotta remember though, however, many people mistake Aspergers Syndrome as a label criteria of it as a disability. It's not a disability. As I said, take away the dis and we've got the ability to do things like normal everyday people, even if our mindset is different to the ones of the neurotypicals. Okay, it's just a part of who and what I am, regardless of trying not to actually, as I said, let it rule me. As I said so many times before, nobody knows my life until I've just recently decided to start my channel. This is just sharing it with my closest friends and family, regardless, hopefully, that some of the ones that I've been trying to classify as my 5 lucky friends on my fingers, that they'll stick by me regardless, because I found it really hard right now at the moment also, even though I'm doing my darn hardest to actually find some support networks where I am based in New Zealand, because of the lack of funding through the government or what have you. But I'm sure that there's how to find some, even though I'm doing the very darn hardest to get out a bit more and actually socialise, regardless of my social anxiety versus my anxiety and all these other parts that comes within the territory of Aspergers Syndrome. Regardless of how hard I push myself, I do exhaust myself, and I exhaust the tools and resources I need for myself to actually go about my everyday living. But then, like I said, you know, I'm trying to look out for me regardless of many people can see me as a person that, as I said so many times before, I'm loyal and actually stick through and through to certain people that I feel close to my heart, that are in my social circle, regardless of my social circle now growing smaller to this day. But that's just life, obviously, because I know for a fact in amongst my social circle, regardless being it small, I know I have to show my greatness regardless what it may be. Okay, well, the question is to you guys is that you may be asking me, is it really a disability? No, it's no less of something else. I don't care what and how you feel about the disorders that you may have heard about, of the myths, misconceptions about it. I'm just hoping that in time, despite it all, that I've given you all as much knowledge, information and whatnot of what it is all about. Because obviously, as I said before, people on the autism spectrum disorder, be it autism, Aspergers Syndrome, will deal with it daily on a day-to-day basis differently from others. Not every autistic person is the same, however, we may present certain similar struggles that we go through in our life, regardless what it may be. But then again, it pays to know what is to do with us. Anyway, I'm trying to now brush off certain people that are hating on me regardless, or just feel the need to just belittle me to the point of no return based on maybe, I don't know, how I think, act, speak, regardless if it's my, you know, condition of Aspergers Syndrome. Many people may think I can just pretend it's all in my head. Maybe many people may call me crazy or what have you, label, but then again, that's for you to decide. Okay, as I said before, I've only briefly shared with you all on the usual community versus the autistic community on Facebook and friends and family that I feel that I can lean on to actually spread the word, what I've got, and hopefully create this awareness and understanding. Okay, I have opened up to you all based on my life stories and whatnot and my journey with it. You know, I'm being, like I said, being as real and transparent about this as possible. But I'm forever grateful that, as I said, that the social media now is actually getting behind it all and actually doing their best to raise an awareness and understanding of different medical disorders or what have you, of the certain issues that are different, as well as the disabilities, to invite you all to walk in their shoes and understand the people that are in with, well, I don't like using the word disabilities, as I'll call it, disorders, basically to walk in their shoes to understand what life is like for them. You know, it's never easy for some of them. Basically, we need to take a step back, or also just to know, you know, for ourselves what we need to know about regardless. Okay. Many people have questioned me time to time before about being an Aspie. Is it a blessing or a curse? You guys can find that hopefully on my video series. based on Aspergers Syndrome, blessing or curse. Okay, but let's be real and quick about it. My response, no, it's not a curse. Many people may tend to look at it that way, but to me it's a blessing in disguise. We're all humans after all. We can make the decisions, basically, regardless what it may be. Right and wrong choices like anybody else. You know, in life, what we learn from our everyday life experiences is up to us. I suggest to watch more of that video. I'm proud to be who and what I am so far in this day and age, regardless of this label of being autistic. Okay, what I want to end here though, before I end this, is be happy with what we have, you know, count our blessings, basically. Accept the small things, because obviously some of the small things that we take for granted is teaching us our life lessons, you know. Obviously, be appreciative of all the small things that we've got, be it, you know, our family, friends, maybe, you know, fall in love with nature. Be aware that with the small thing that we're alive and kicking, we're breathing and everything else. Also, having the right attitude along the way with the right support frame network with friends, family or whoever that we need, obviously is a good tool. You know, obviously I've been finding it challenging for me at this point of time to find the right people around me, because obviously some people has dragged me down for quite some time, and I get a lot of hate messages, or a few people I know of that I used to, you know, hang around with, you know, in the past, here where I'm living right now, that still gives me the funny stare up or just what have you, you know, and it's fine, you know, because I can't change them, obviously, you know, for how I want them to change to be, because obviously at this day and age, you know, that's up to them to make that change for themselves. Okay, as I said before I end this, yes, we do have different wiring in the mindset. I've said this so many times before. Some things about being an Aspie gets overlooked or dismissed by others in our social circle or outside our social circle, regardless who it may be. We are who and what we are as a person. We should just embrace who and what we are, as we have gifts and talents like many others that are in the, you know, high functioning range or what have you. We need to share them around with others, and hopefully within that skills and mindset we have, hopefully it can become beneficial of others around us. We should be able to love ourselves like, you know, anyone. We should come first, loving ourselves before we love others, because obviously, as I've learnt, especially in my relationships, you know, past, present, what have you, that, you know, if we don't love ourselves enough and value ourselves enough, you know, we won't be able to give our all to the one that is supposed to be in our life, if it's supposed to be our soulmate or, you know, partner in crime at the end of the, you know, in our years, if we do to find the right one. Well, we don't want to call it the right one as such, do we? We just a person who we love and adore so much that shares maybe similar differences regardless, or just similarities. We should be able to love ourselves regardless of what people may say or think about us, because obviously at the end of the day, like I'm trying to learn right now to brush off the haters and actually look at how I see in myself about as a person. You know, I'm starting to learn this a little bit every day, regardless. It does hurt because, you know, as you guys know, I'm a caring person and I'm a real gentle soul that, like, really get her feelings in the way sometimes over her thought patterns, regardless what it may be. But, you know, just to be a mind to end this, you know, you're not alone, you're loved by others, be it your family, friends that you do call as friends. Respect each other's differences regardless of it all, and basically at the end of the day, you are who you are special, you are unique, you are loved and whatnot. Well, that ends basically obviously a real long blurb about Aspergers Syndrome is real. Give me the like for thumbs up for support. You comment below if I missed out anything, or just feel free to comment below some messages of hope for others around us to hopefully just start a positive feedback chain. This is, you know, just a chain of positivity. You know, I challenge you all before I go, basically, maybe just as I've followed Alfie, which is a kind of a good thing what he's saying, that maybe we should take a step of the unknown basically and actually help someone in need, or just do one good thing in this world, and hopefully it will just fall through as a ripple effect for us, you know, because if we treat others the way we want to be treated, hopefully everything will just roll into back us and tenfold. And all further ado, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching, share my videos, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Feel free to, share these videos around that you feel close to your heart to share. Until next time, do what you love what you do. Aspie signing out. Have a great day.